Miss Genderlyn, who are you responding to there? Yeah, he's also said conversion therapy could work for autistic people. When have I said that? We've been down this road so many times, but all I have to say is that if you think I'm conceited, you make it worse when the only way you can criticize me is by shadowboxing with fake positions and strawmanning me. Like that just makes me feel like I'm right. Just wild to say that. I have never, ever, ever advocated for conversion therapy or suggested that it works. You have literally said that? No, I'm Wax Newman. I'm sorry. I haven't. I have not said that. Also, even if I suggested that you could make a person not autistic through conversion therapy, that wouldn't be an advocacy for conversion therapy because that's torture. Like, you could say, oh, well, through this like prolonged torture method, you can make a left-handed person right-handed, which you can force left-handed people to become right-handed by like forcing them. You don't necessarily torture, you just kind of like force them to learn with their right hand, I guess, but it's whatever. But like, that's not an advocacy for the process. I think people have issue with your take that autism can go away as you get older. Autism is defined in people as meeting the diagnostic criteria for autism. You're describing like sets of behaviors that you test for through diagnostic criteria. As you get older, you change, your mind changes, your behaviors change. It's possible that over time, you might have previously been diagnosed with autism, but then if you retake those the same test with the same criteria, you might no longer meet the criteria sufficient to be diagnosed with it. It's not like being cured or uncured. It's just a general descriptor of your behavioral trends. People can change over time. That doesn't mean they always do, and not always enough to shift one in or out of a diagnosis. But that can happen. That doesn't mean that autism isn't real, or like fake or whatever. Isn't that called masking? No. Masking is when you deliberately expend effort to hide or alter behaviors, but your personality can just naturally change. Like, you can mask in the sense that you can make an effort to hide or exacerbate certain behaviors to fight against it, but also your personality can change. Masks aren't always conscious. Yeah, people change. People can change. So it's just living and dealing with autism. Oh my God. What is it? What is it about this topic? No, no. Sometimes over the course of your life, you can change, and sometimes you'll meet the criteria and sometimes you won't. Maybe you'll meet it your whole life. Maybe you won't meet it your whole life. Your personality and your brain state and your cognitive biases are all fluid and shift in your life day to day. So autism can no longer meet diagnostic criteria. Does that mean you still have autism or not? If you don't meet the diagnostic criteria, you no longer have autism. Because that's what we define having autism as, meeting the diagnostic criteria. People have irrational fears of shit like speaking on stage, but you can work on it and get to a point where you can speak on stage. Sure, deep down the stage fright might still be there, but to an outside observer, you would be seen as not having stage fright. Sure, but you could also get over stage fright. Both of those things are possible. You can suppress stage fright and go up there and do a performance anyway and not look like you have it, or you can just genuinely overcome it and not have stage fright anymore. Both are possible. So you can get over autism. Your mind can change over the course of your life to the point where you no longer have it, and then maybe you can have it again. And maybe in the future you'll have it again. Who knows? You can dip in and out of that shit. You can weave between lanes. So you cannot have autism as a kid, then get it when you're like 40. You can be diagnosed with it when you're like 40. You can't really get it as in it's like a disease or whatever. You don't really like get depression, right? Depressive symptoms are present in basically everyone to some extent. But you're not always going to be diagnosed with depression. So having autism purely depends on being diagnosed. That is how we define having autism. Yeah. It's a general term we use to describe a collection of traits, behaviors, mannerisms, personality, attributes, so on and so forth. Yeah, it is literally called the autism spectrum. How about undiagnosed autism? Yeah, that can also be a thing. Vaush, there's a difference between something being observable externally and internally. Am I cognizant? I can't keep doing this with you, okay? My position on this is objectively correct. I'm sorry, I can't keep finding ways to rephrase this. There isn't like a nodule in your brain that is the autism on-off switch, and some people have it. It's literally called a spectrum. Like basically everything about brain states, it's a nature-nurture thing. Same with gender and sexuality and depression and anxiety and a bunch of other crap. We can't keep doing this. I no longer meet the criteria to be diagnosed with ADHD, but I still deal with issues of attention and focus. I got bad news for you, buddy. So does everyone else. This is the shit that pisses me off. Do autistic people think that allistic people don't sometimes struggle to maintain eye contact? Do ADHD people think that non-ADHD people don't also have issues like holding attention? Dude, we all have the same basic fucking construction up here. You're describing general trends in behavior. It's you don't have switches in your brain. Oh no, you don't get it. As a non-ADHD person, you have no idea what inattentiveness might look like. Everyone suffers from executive dysfunction, just to varying extents. It's not only ADHD people. It's just ADHD people have more of it to the point where they're diagnosed with it. We're all the same shit. This is the thing. The people, you lock yourself in a box. You don't understand, and you lose the ability to relate to other people because you needlessly confine the expanse of these very human experiences to medical categorizations. You're looking at doctors and diagnostic criteria to give you validity with these traits. It's just not how it works. There are people who do not have clinical depression who have depressive symptoms. There are people who do not have autism who share a lot in common with autistic people. Cisgender people experience dysphoria in addition to dysmorphia. Straight people have had gay thoughts. It's been known to happen. There are lesbians who have slept with men. We're all pretty similar. It's like a subcategorization of or this like this genre or where people are like, did you know that like non-autistic people literally don't have an internal world? Develop a personality. Your personality is not what you were diagnosed with. It's uninteresting. People do this with everything. They do this with trauma as well. Like just stop with the categories type shit. That's what drove me crazy about my classmates, my gender and sexuality class. Everyone kept categorizing themselves into smaller and smaller groups. Yeah, that's like genuinely, that's why I just like queer. And my definition of queer is so broad that I include plenty of straight people in it. Straight cis people. Because they're like fruity with it, you know? I think it's more of a cultural marker than like what you do. Listen, I want to gatekeep on literacy. I don't want to gatekeep with these broader descriptors. If you want to gatekeep on something aspirational, that makes sense to me. It's better to be literate than illiterate, objectively, at least intersubjectively, okay? But when it comes to being any of these other things, I don't know. Just do the best you can. People get so locked in on the differentiation. And it's why I keep talking about this. It's why I take the bait every single time, because I really do think this is like a root issue. Like you can lock your feet in at this point, and from it you can like a beautiful like normative framework can blossom out, you know? It's so fundamental that a lot of people don't even want to think about it, because if you can talk to a lot of people and they don't even understand like the root of it, right? It's like talking to a boomer about well, you shouldn't say that gay people were born that way because it implies that the only reason you shouldn't discriminate against them is because they can't help being different. And then they're like, well, I don't understand. I thought that was how we advocate for gay people. And it's like, look, boomer, I get it. And you grew up in a different time than me. I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying like the dialectic is advanced, or the blue brain, pink body, pink brain, blue body shit with trans people, or the idea, well, like the validity of trans people is also because they're born that way. I don't think trans people are born that way. I don't think anyone's born anyway when it comes to these constructs. For some things like Down syndrome, which is defined as the extra chromosome, or if you're born without a leg, you just don't have a leg, right? But so much stuff that we take for granted is like a socially indeterminable biological mandate is in reality like really fucking up for grabs, right?